to be working on. So, and everything feels kind of off because of that. So I would say, I keep saying I want to get back to my writing, and part of what I mean is I want to get back to feeling normal. Back to my structure, my routine.
I mean, do you write to create a beautiful piece of art? Do you write because there's a particular vision of the world that you want to see? Do you write because you cry at the way people carelessly cruel to each other? Do any of these things?
I mean, maybe all of the above in a way. I think some of the best writing is the kind of writing that you read and the author has described a particular emotion or a particular way of looking at the world that makes you go, yes, I totally know what you mean, I've felt that way, but I've never put it into words and I would have never thought to, particularly the way that you just did. So when I read things like that, I strive to do the same.
In which emotional state do you do your best work?
When I'm alert, well rested, mornings are best for me. If I can, my ideal situation is if I can get up, do yoga, have coffee, and then sit down while it's still early and start writing. Then I feel refreshed and ready to go.
How about angry, sad, happy?
If I'm too much of anything like that, it's distracting.
Okay, so you don't write out of one primary emotion.
No, I don't think so. Honestly, in many ways I see it as work. It is work. It's my work. So I want to get to work feeling the best I possibly can, like anybody else going to work. You don't want to be distracted. You want to be focused. You want to be well rested. It's sort of all the same things. And then the emotion that I feel, usually I pick up the emotion of whatever it is I'm working on. So to start off and having a really strong emotion, to start off feeling really happy about something or really depressed or really angry, it's just going to take me longer to get to where I need to be.
Even rage?
If I was in a rage, I don't think I would sit down to write.
Where did you go undergrad?
University of Colorado, Boulder.
You wanted to get far away from home, but not California?
Well, actually, my family, when I grew up in Boston, and then when I graduated from high school, my family moved to Texas. So there was no real home at that point. I could have gone to school in Massachusetts or in Texas, but I liked Colorado. My mom and I went out and looked at the school there when I was a senior in high school. I really liked it. She really liked it, and it's just where I wound up. So it was fun.
What role has Judaism played in your life?
Well, I was raised with quite a bit of it. My family we were Reform when I was growing up. My family now is mostly conservative, I would say, and I'm sort of unaffiliated. But I'm I guess more interested in it than involved in it at this point. But of course, holidays are still a big part of my life, and anything that connects me to my family is still a big part of my life.
What did people expect you to become, say, in high school? Did they expect you to become a murderer?
Yeah, I think so. I think if you were to ask anybody who knew me then, that's probably what they would have said.
So how'd you end up in Montana? I didn't realize that Montana had a good MFA program.
They have a great MFA program. And since I had no idea what I was doing, I got that magazine, what is it called? The U.S. Weekly
News.
World News Report.
U.S. News and World Report.
Yeah. They have the list
And
of
they
top
rank the
10,
top.
exactly, the grad schools. So I got that issue. I looked at the MFA programs that had made the list, crossed off the ones that were in places I couldn't imagine living.
Such as?
Amherst, Massachusetts, and applied to all the other ones. So I actually, when I got into Montana, I had never been to Montana, but I knew it was a great program, so I accepted and I was thrilled. And then I graduated from college, and one of my friends moved out there with me, so we just drove from Boulder to Missoula, and that was it. And I was thrilled because actually I got there and it was gorgeous and it was incredible, and I wound up having a really great 2 years, not just because I got such a fabulous education, which I did, but because it's really a great place to live. So that was how it happened.
How did the MFA program change you as a person, if at all?
Well, again, it made me a more serious writer, and it made me a better reader. Those classes definitely taught me how to read as a writer, what to read, how to read critically, and indirectly how to think critically. But I'm not really sure if my critical thinking skills were as much a result of going through the MFA program as they were just a result of kind of turning 22, turning 23, turning 24, getting older. But I definitely remember at some point a serious shift in the way I saw the world, which was, the ability to question and to step back a little bit. That's the best way I can think to describe it.
Were you a confident writer before you entered the MFA program?
Yes, but it was unwarranted confidence. Right. So.
And then you came out of the MFA program with warranted confidence.
Humbled and nervous, and I think I lost a lot of the confidence, which was probably a good thing. I've become more confident since my book came out, about my writing, but ironically, because I'm not writing, but I've become more confident because unfortunately I'm very dependent on external validation. I think as artists we kind of have to be, otherwise it's journaling, and I've gotten good feedback. The reviewers have been really kind, so that's been the best thing for my confidence, my writing confidence yet.
What was the genesis of this book?
The genesis was a short story I wrote my last semester of graduate school. I was sort of trying to explore the feeling that I get as a Jew in America hearing about a suicide bombing in Israel. And I wrote a story about the brother and sister who are now the protagonists of the novel, Bits and Ash. Bits living in Boston, Ash, her brother, living in Jerusalem. And she hears about a suicide bombing on the radio, and she tries to call her brother. And then the tension throughout the story is her brother going to call her back? By the end of the story, he has not. So I just wrote that story. I published it. It was in my thesis. I was done. It was called Close to Lebanon. But then when I left graduate school, I went to an artist colony for a month. And while I was there, I had a lot of time. All there was to do was write. And I returned to the story, and I think because it was so inconclusive, I was really haunted by it, and I wanted to know about Ash, so I started writing from his perspective, and then I went back to Bits' perspective, and then I went back to his and to hers, and over time it almost was like a conversation, but the more interested I became in these characters, the more I realized I have so much to learn about them, I have so much to learn about their lives. I started doing research, and it just became this enormous project. So,
how did you decide to make the Shlomo Carlebach thread and person so exact?
Well, it's based on him, but it's not him exactly. It's fiction. You're talking about the character Yudel Zef.
Right.
Yes.
I can't think of any differences aside from the name.
Yeah, so it just seemed like it was to me a really interesting.
How did you stumble on that?
I had been to a Carlebach shul in Jerusalem, and I was completely blown away by the music and the experience. And I remember the feeling that Ash describes in the novel.